All right, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 is what we're talking about right now. Now, when we look real quick, you had NVIDIA earnings here in the after hours, and they announced a pretty major beat that we will be covering. Okay, so you did actually have a 26 billion revenue beating from the 24.7. EPS was up major as well. They actually raised guidance to 28 billion going into the next quarter. They also announced the big 10-to-1 stock split as well. NVIDIA is loving this. You pushed into roughly $1,000 at first. You're sitting around 970, 980 at this point. We'll see how this flows after they give more of their guidance and overall expectations going into this past earnings they just had. Now, the next thing going into that is looking at NQ like we discussed. NQ just ended up pushing closer towards 18.9 level overall up here. You had that little bit of a push, kind of flatlining right now. We need to see if we're going to get more continuation. And again, we won't really get a good idea of this until later tonight and after this earnings call as well. But overall, you're looking good on NQ and ES. ES is basically flatlining at the resistance right now, the high you've kind of faced, 53.48. You also can't really hold above 53.33 just yet. But again, I still think you look really good. You're consolidating here at highs. Now, the next thing we do is we go into what's happening here with volume. And this is the concerning part. Volume over the past 3 days has been atrocious. 37 billion on Monday, 33 million yesterday, Tuesday, and then 46 million basically today. Overall, that's terrible volume, and you're not really getting anything happening here. So it does constitute and give you a really good idea of why you're sitting in this little bit of a range up here, because there's really no breakout volume that's pushing us in either direction. We go and we look at SPY, you can still kind of see what's happening here. You had that nice ascending triangle kind of to start the day, but ultimately you're just trading in the overall range in the box, and you cannot escape that just yet. You need to get above 531.6 to be really breakout bullish and getting great continuation, but I wouldn't really even consider us bearish until we get back below 524.6. Going into QQQ, Nasdaq, as you can see, a lot more bullish looking in my opinion. You still look very good. You're sitting at basically highs. There's nothing really to be concerned with there either. You go into something like the Dow, you had a really good initial push today where you went into basically 40,000, and then you kind of came dropping back down after that. That was the only bad look there. Now, the one thing that was bad that kind of pushed the market to the downside was coming out of Goldman and rate cuts. Okay, I didn't have it pulled up already, but this was basically the bad news that came out on the day. Goldman Solomon says he sees 0 rate cuts this year. Once that came out, you started seeing the market get a little bit of a sell-off. Again, those are the biggest points and things that we're looking at, but wait 1 second because we got to talk about this.
Speaking of trading, if you've been using a basic investing app for the past few years, I highly recommend that you step it up and graduate to a better investing platform that can grow with you, which in my opinion is today's sponsor, Moomoo. Like other platforms, Moomoo has a super intuitive user interface, really easy to use, but unlike the other platforms, they have everything that you're using right at your fingertips. Whether it be your analysis tools, up-to-the-minute live data on the markets, what's happening with options data. And it's worth mentioning, while other platforms charge a premium for the quality of data that you're getting here at Moomoo, Moomoo does not charge a dime when it comes to getting live data on the charts. So for any of you that are serious about your investment journey, Moomoo's platform is worth checking out. The link is down below. It helps me out, it helps you out. If you have any questions, comment down below. Let's get back to the video.
Okay, so first I just want to go over really quickly the S&P, what we're looking for, and what you should be looking at going into tomorrow. Now, again, I also want to say, I really do appreciate what Moomoo has done for the channel, the platform overall, and you guys have really seemed to like it and enjoy what's happening there. Always give me your feedback into things that could change and be better overall on the platform, just so I know. And then also, you guys, I just appreciate all the support that you guys continue to show us. We appreciate it. You guys have been awesome. But again, what we're looking at on SPY is I want to see a break above 531.6, a hold, and get continuation to the upside. Very simple. Qs, you're already seeing that hold above 455. Even when you saw the sellers kind of step in throughout the day, you couldn't hold there for long, so I'm not really concerned there either. You want to see DXY again. DXY is coming back into our resistance to get the breakout to the downside. You came into the 200. Now you're coming back into that. I want to see the DXY get weakness back down towards our target down there as well. We also go into something like 30-year yields. We look what's happening here. Again, not a lot of strength. Still looks like a lot of weakness. You got to break below the 200 SMA, which is still right there and a level that you need to be watching overall. And getting back below 4.426. Below that, I think it's a pretty big risk on individual signal, and things could get crazy. Also, to Bitcoin, really interesting here. You're holding above 69.2K, the massive key level we've been talking about. That's good overall. You lose that level, sellers could step in a little bit. But ultimately, too, the big thing here is Ethereum. With the ETF kind of rumors coming out right now that Ethereum is going to pass with the ETF news, and this is going to carry the crypto market. And that's the really big thing here when I look at most of these cryptos that are moving is once you start seeing Ethereum get that separation, that's when a lot of money usually is made from my past experience. So, do what you want with that information. But overall, you still look good on the market. There's no real signs of concern for myself. Again, you're holding your massive level 18,707. You're finishing basically at highs on the day. That's where we're at. You still look good. There's no reason or cause for concern just yet. Now going into equities. Again, I wanted to jump in this. I want to get through this as quickly as possible today. NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA looks good. I think it looks solid. If you stay above the 974, 973 previous all-time high sign, you're going to run into 1,000, most likely, especially with the expectation of what's happening with the 10-to-1 split. That is what would make the most sense for me. Going to tell you right now. Okay. Next after that, going into AMD, the one I keep talking about. If you're going for a sympathy play here on NVIDIA's earnings, again, I expect AMD to get love as long as you're above a 164.5. Above this level, you need to break out above the 168 level right locally here. Above 168, 168.5, I think you're pushing into 174.7. That's my next target after that. There's no reason to confuse it. This is what you're looking for. This is what you're watching for. There's nothing else to be or really be on the lookout there. AVGO, you're holding your 1391 level here. If you can stay above 1391, I think it's a good buying opportunity. Again, potential a little bit of a double bottom coming out there. You break back above the 1416 level there. It's confirmation. You love to see a break, retest, and continuation. Back in all-time highs there around 1450, 1445. That's what you're looking at there. Now, the best name I like overall is Microsoft. I think Microsoft is just my favorite play. There's no other real way I can talk about it here. Again, you got back into your previous all-time highs around 430.9 roughly. We kind of ended the day right below that. We saw a little bit of bounce with NVIDIA. If the market comes out strong, if we see buyers step in, I think Microsoft is going to break all-time highs and run to 440. Bare minimum. I'm very bullish on Microsoft. I think it looks very good. I like what they're doing. They announced partnerships with AMD and they announced new partnerships with NVIDIA. So overall, big fan of what they're doing. I'm very bullish on the name. We go into something like Apple. You still look really good here above 190. This might be giving you a better opportunity. I was telling people in Discord today that I don't like trading it from like 191 to 195. It's just a lot of chop. And there's a lot of resistance in that range. You go and we look at something like the options flow that's coming in here. We'll go to AMD in here in a second, but you can make money when you come back into these supports. So I'm always looking for a break back down into key levels and reactions off those. So if you start to hold the 190 level there, it is a decent opportunity. You don't have to, you can go dated like, 621, 30 days out basically, roughly. And again, you'll make money on these contracts. Like the 190s at the money. They get, $2 up. You're still making around, give or take, 30, 35% on those. Again, I know some of us are obsessed with the home run plays and making millions and millions and millions of dollars. But again, that's just me, what I'm looking for. I don't really know what to say. I stay focused on the names that I like. And again, I focus on getting the plays that have worked in the past as well. So that's the big thing that I'm looking at right now and right there. Going in a little bit further back into AMD though. Again, I keep saying AMD because I think it's just value, like in comparison to everything else. We can see our Lux levels coming in here too. And if you're interested in our Lux levels or indicators, volume and the levels here as well, the code's OD40. The link is down below. You get 40% off your first purchase, just to let you know. But going back into the options flow here, right? Going into AMD, I still like AMD. Still think it's one of the better opportunities. It's something that you can go further dated on, like July's, and you can still make good money on these contracts as well. Again, I like the 175 range. That's the most appetizing if I had to pick one, just because, again, that's going to be near our target to the upside. If you break above 168.5, you're looking for 174.5, 175 locally. That's how I'd be looking at there. AMD is a good name. I like it. Value play. That's what I'd be looking at. Especially if, again, the trade's very simple. Like the trade is very, very direct and simple. You're looking for options around there. Set stops below some local lows there. And again, your risk to reward is very high back into that level up there, at least into 173. It makes a lot of sense. You can open those a little bit more if you need to, but nonetheless, that's the trade idea and what you'd be looking at there. Again, though, going into names like something like Tesla, again, it's been all over the place. That's been the really scary part. You come into your level like 186, you mount that level, you look really bullish. Well, no, you open up today, you reject, and you push back down. I don't like this type of action. If we look at something like Tesla as well, you go to the weekly chart here, it's been nothing but it's just been ugly, right? There's no other way to describe how Tesla's been moving. We go all the way back to basically, beginning of January, end of January, you haven't moved at all. These aren't the names I want to focus on. When the Nasdaq is pushing up in a straight line, you're getting a lot of momentum, a lot of strength. I want to focus on the names that are following that, right? That's why we traded Netflix. That's why we traded, Meta. That's why we traded, Nvidia so much. We even traded AMD for a while. Like, I can go on and on and on. That's why we focus on the names that have consistently been winners and are following the trend and structure of the market. I'm not trying to buck the trend. Occasionally I'll try to find value plays, but again, the goal is to find what's already working and what's moving with the market as it's already been moving. We don't want to create our own system. We want to focus on what system is working and capitalize off of that. So that's how I'm attacking and looking at this market at all points in time. Today's video is a little bit slower, a little bit, I guess a little bit quicker, less things I'm covering. But again, I just want to get this out to you guys. I'm still really bullish overall. I think Nvidia looks incredible. Probably pushing 1,000 tomorrow. Seems very, very likely, especially with the split. I think this leads to strength across the market, especially in tech, AVGO, AMD, Microsoft, probably my top names going into tomorrow. I'll definitely be watching those. And with the Bitcoin dipping back down here, if you can bounce around 69.2, I still think Coinbase has a lot of room to run. You got back into 230 today. Back above 238, I think you're running into 261. So again, those are my levels. That's what I'm watching. If you have questions, comment down below. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, traders.